Get
doing?
rid
I'm
of
back.
any. Get rid of any information behind there, man. You don't want
No,
anybody seeing that
it
stuff.
would have been a weird like foldback thing because I had the StreamYard
Oh,
thing behind me.
oh, nice.
It
Don't
would have
want
been
any of that.
remember, do you ever do that thing with VHS camcorders or whatever where you like plug it into the TV and then you point it at the TV and you get
Oh
the
God,
weird like
yeah.
worm of mess moving around? I'm dating myself. I'm sure that would
Oh,
happen with modern. Like, actually, I've never tried taking like a webcam and pointing it at the screen. I should try that. Be a nerd.
this is a great question to kick off. Now, I don't know if you saw my video on Monday, Dylan. Probably not,
Did
because you
not.
were
No.
busy and you're an adult and you work a lot. I did a March Madness of microphones. So I basically took all the mics and I pitted them up against each other, a 32 microphone field, and first round, second round, third round, fourth round, final. The NT1 came out on top because I was trying to match not just price to performance, market saturation, all these different factors. Plus, just my own bias is going to sneak in, right?
Yeah,
And
of
the
course.
NT1 came out on top because, as far as I'm concerned, for the price to what you can use it for, it's one of the best
Oh yeah.
mics you can buy, like by a long shot. And Liberty Dude asks, I wonder, based on now, if you were to do it all over again, would you have bought the Rode NT1 and called it a day, or would you still have bought an SM57, 58, and NT2 before the NT1? Yes, I would have actually bought the NT1 first. I bought the NT2A for I've owned 58s my whole life. I've owned 57s, born with one in my hand, I think. But the NT1, when I went to buy a microphone for starting a voiceover, I went with the NT2A, and I could have saved myself a ton of money and just gotten an NT1. Considering I never used any of the bloody polar patterns on the NT2A like Dylan would. So, yeah, like if I could go back, probably. That said, getting an SM58 to 57 and an NT2A, I mean, if you got the money, why not, right?
Why not?
And then the thumbnail picture shows skeptical indignation faces with NAB coming up. Should you not be gleeful? Oh, we're gleeful. We're gleeful. Should we not get the impression that you're prancing around the room singing? I feel giddy. If you do not have that impression about us, we're doing something wrong. We dance around the room all giddy all the time. And Dylan needs an old-fashioned pocket protector filled with audio fix-it tools.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I do need that. Is that an offer? I'm hearing an offer, I think.
Outsider Jess, how's it going? I like it, UK. Greetings from the UK. We've got Anaya Print. Hi, you guys. I cannot believe I just got the Elgato Mark II. It's awesome. Much better than butter, but I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Cheers, man. Yeah, the Mark II is a hell of an upgrade over the original. I'm not an adult and work very little, so I got to watch the video, Dylan. Yeah. Dylan has
I could also be, I could also be less of an asshole and actually try to keep up to speed on stuff. I don't know, man.
I don't care.
The world of technology product development is an ever rapidly evolving world. And so there's more than enough just in the narrow kind of super deep verticals that I got to focus on. But
yeah, no, I couldn't even imagine like working your day. God, no.
It's weird. You. It's and it's all day, right? Because yesterday I had to do something at 6 a.m. and I had to do something at 8 p.m. Yeah. And both of those were like scheduled things. And it's like, oh my God.
Is there a part of you that is kind of lusting after living somewhere else just for the time differences?
Not even, man, because I work with people in Europe. I work with people on West Coast United States. I work with people in fucking Australia. And then there's also Shenzhen, China, which gets thrown into the mix as well.
That's got to be pretty close to the.
Yeah, it's you end up hitting the same thing. But the thing that you learn when you're doing work on these 3 continents is that somebody's getting fucked. Somebody's getting fucked. When you're booking a meeting, it is impossible. It is actually mathematically impossible to schedule, which makes sense. The sun can only be in one place at a time. And so, somebody's getting screwed. Like what my partner in crime, Peter Schillebeck, who's came over from Soundfield, works for Rode now in upper echelons of the company. He works in the UK, and so it's very frequently like we had a meeting that was what our time, I think, Aiden, it was like 6 p.m. and it was a status update meeting for a project. And it, we're talking about a lot of industrial design stuff, and there's a lot of collaboration happening across this. So, Schillerbeck wants to be on those. So for him, that's like 11 o'clock at night. And there was one time I remember when I was in Seattle, we had a meeting at like 8 a.m. my time, which is like 4 p.m. his time. Super annoying. And he was talking about, we were talking about the meetings coming up like the next day. I was like, oh, you get lots of round the clock meetings. It's like, yeah, I'd rather have a few less, to be honest. It is being up past midnight for meetings on a regular basis is it can kick your ass a little bit. So global business time zone things. I am still fairly new to this, but I've adapted. Like my brain just does the math automatically. Like when you work with a certain time zone regularly, you just like, oh yeah, okay, that's one for you. Cool. But it's definitely a change. Well, I mean, it's radio. It was getting like that because, I mean, not as drastic, obviously, but like we did nationally syndicated stuff across, 4 different time zones, basically. Like there's a little bit of coordination that needs to happen there. But anyway, I digress.
I like UK says, I claim I'm an adult. My wife would disagree. I watched the video. Outsider Jess, I was trying to make a $50 budget podcast set up on Amazon, and Behringer was the only mics under $20 that was decent enough for me to put on that list. Yeah, I've thought about doing some videos where I actually get the product and I put together, and you can hear what my $150 podcast setup would be like. Maybe I'll start doing that. Beresford, greetings from the UK, enjoying a nice bottle of Tsingtao.
Jesus, yeah, they'll be fucking late for you, man. Well, I guess it's Friday. Okay, right?
Well, everybody that joins from the UK, it's got to be like 11 o'clock.
Yeah, well, it's 5 hours ahead. So take our time, add 5 hours to it, and that's where they are.
Yeah.
Australia is weird. Australia is plus 16 hours from us.
Yeah, well, I can only imagine. Well, I think Australia's the worst. If we're going to, from Ottawa, if we drill straight through the earth, I think we
land in Australia. Yep.
Yeah, we land in Australia. Yep. There's a website you can go to. I completely forget what the website is, that you can actually see where hole would come out.
It'll like do like a spearhead through the planet and show you like, oh, you would end up here. I remember I did it once because growing up, there was always, like, whenever I was a kid and digging a hole in the sand, there was always the saying, are you digging a tunnel to China? Are you digging a hole to China? And so at one point I was like, is China actually there? I mean, it's feasible. And then I looked it up, and us specifically, we're like somewhere just off, I think, the southeast or southwest coast of Australia. Like we're in the middle of the water, but like close to Australia. I don't know,
if you will.
Exactly.
Liberty Dude says, Dylan, I could call you many things. The negative term you just used, I don't even remember what that is very far from my thoughts towards you. Keep being the master blaster. Nice.
Negative term. Negative term?
You use, I don't know. He calls you a master blaster, though. Clint. How's it going, Clint? Long time no talk, man. Good day from Australia. Finally caught a live show. Hope you're both well. Finally, a little cold here this morning after a long summer. Again, I extend the most sincere bite me that I can, because we had a high of, I think, -6 today with a wind chill of like -12. A little chilly in the morning, I would kill for. I would absolutely kill for. But I can imagine, coming out of summer.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Aiden. I am done with winter. Winter and me are over.
It's the end of March, for crying out loud.
I know. And we had that massive master blasting on the weekend that I was not expecting. Yeah, too much.
Clip away. Meetings across time zones is how people get addicted to white powdered sniff stuff.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
There's other ways to stay awake that is less illegal.
Yeah, I was going to say there is a long list of what I find very frequently is the caffeinated variety. That becomes your lifeline, especially like, I don't know, when I leave, sharing flight details. I have an early morning flight. When I leave to come back to Canada from Seattle, I have an early morning flight. Like we're talking pre 6 a.m. flight. Um, and so to get to that flight, all considered, I end up getting up at like 2:30.
Yeah.
Because where I stay is like a very long way away from the airport, because
Well,
the airport
also
is in a
with the
stupid place.
with the TSA right now
Oh God,
being
yeah, now.
oh
Don't even
God.
since all this stuff going on, I haven't
Yeah.
not traveled to the States.
Well,
There is some slated travel in the next few months, but I'm really hoping all
well,
this kind of
we've
up.
got the NAB show coming up in less than a month
I
that
know.
we're
Yeah.
planning on being at.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see because I booked us out late at night, which is nice because you can show up to the airport 5 hours ahead and it's not a big deal. Showing up at for a 6 a.m. flight, no, thank you. By the way, Beresford says 9 p.m. I like UK says 9:12 as well. Clip away is 10:12 in drunk Amsterdam time. And Clint says 7:12 a.m. in Queensland, Australia. Well, look at
It's
that.
funny how we change, man. Like I remember when 4 a.m. was my average go to bed time, and then now somebody says midnight, and I'm like, ooh, like how the times have changed.
God, I'm like a 10 to 11 p.m. in bed guy.
That's pretty
Dylan,
good.
I've
That's pretty good.
Liberty Dude's got a question that I'm going to field for you. So in Rewind, you start with an NT1. That's your first mic purchase. What's your upgrade mic from there? 416? Question mark.
From NT2.
NT1. So like we're talking less music based, more voice, more kind of what I do, less than what you do. I'm guessing he was kind of aiming this at me. I've got my answer, but what do you say? Because
what would be your answer?
I would probably go with the 416 as a second upgrade because you can milk the NT1 for a couple years and literally like pay it off tenfold in a couple months with a couple good voice gigs. And the 416 would be a no-brainer after that. Like I know
In
people
fact,
that have
the
launched
NT1, the NT1 realistically, I mean, with the going rate for kind of lower end voiceovers, you could probably make that back in like 2 or 3 scripts.
Not even
if that. There's a lot of gigs where you easily boom. There's 2 NT1s, 1 script, but not there immediately.
And that's what the one thing that I really struggle with when it comes to upgrading stuff like that is I mean, I'm in a ridiculous environment where I have every freaking mic I can choose. But I've been in the position where I have to go out and purchase a microphone. And man, if a mic is working for you, why are you upgrading? However, that said, when you're talking about going from an NT1 to a 416, you are going to have a little bit more of the world open to you. And that's why I would go with the 416. There are companies that they'll have a list of microphones they want you to use, and then they'll get on a video call with you and make sure you're using the microphone that you say you're using and walk you through the script. So yeah, I'd probably go 416 and then I would stay there. I don't ever need to upgrade from 416. Once you have that, you're golden. So I don't know.
Yeah,
but also 2 great mics. That's what Clip Away says here is the NT1 for more natural, VO 416 for ads. Great duo. Yeah. Somebody also pointed out, this is fascinating, off my Monday video, the Tiny Desk concerts. You've watched these, right? The NPR Tiny Desk concerts.
Yep.
They use 416s for music.
Yeah. There's no reason why you can't.
No, I've never seen somebody utilizing them. It's been a long time since I watched a Tiny Desk. And the last time I did, I wasn't paying attention to what they were using, but I was like, "Oh crap, that's pretty impressive."
Shotgun mics. I mean, if that tone, that kind of small diaphragm condenser, but brightened up a bit, kind of tone that shotgun mics often have, if that's the texture that you're after, because sometimes that's not. But if that's what you're after, use a shotgun. Especially in like a live situation, I bring a few shotgun mics. In fact, I used to mic up like horns and amp cabinets with shotguns because especially with amp cabinets, like if you kind of skew it a little bit and play with the exact orientation, you get vastly different tonal result as you would. It's super sharp. It's a super sharp mic. But yeah, it's a microphone, guys. It's used a lot for voices. And
Yeah.
dialogue, that's kind of their intended purpose, but it's a microphone. I mean, it records sounds. People
No
people
kidding.
use shotgun mics to record sound effects. Consider that too. Shotgun mics are used to collect Foley,
Yeah.
among
They're
other
great
things.
for
And so,
Foley because they have
yeah,
such isolation, right?
yeah, the isolation and a shitload of detail.
Yeah.
And they're also pretty impervious to various forms of unhappy interference and shit like that.
Liberty Dude, maybe upgrade isn't the right term. Maybe call it an expansion of your locker and options. The way I look at it is I haven't sold a microphone in a long time, which is probably to my detriment. I try to point out this cabinet right here. It's a tool cabinet that I bought way back when we started. When I started kind of redoing this house. I bought that to put all of my burgeoning tools in, and I had a ton of tools, and I had to empty all the tools out in the room over there just so I could put my microphones in it. And that tool chest is jam packed. So yeah,
I
like
need one of those.
Mic Locker is wow. I done acoustic guitars with 416s for pop radio station. Cuts
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
I can imagine. I've never played with it. You know what? I smell a video.
Yeah. Yeah, especially like the thing with steel string guitars, and I find one of the places where I heard the most difference, just in like a common source, was a 58 and a 57 on an acoustic guitar, and the 57 caught more of the kind of the cuttiness, if you will, the sliciness of the steel strings, because you got lots of harmonics extending really, really high up, and you need a diaphragm that can move fast enough, really, to capture. And the 58 generally, I mean, it still catches stuff up there, but just not as clear. And obviously, a pencil mic is best case scenario for something like that. But where's I going with this? I totally lost my train of thought.
I don't know.
Moving on.
Sniff, sniff. I smell a video. Yeah, I maybe going over some of the unconventional mics for music. I think that would be kind of interesting. I would love to get a carbon mic.
Copper phone or whatever it is.
Yeah, those are the expensive ones, right?
I want that one specifically because it's got such a really cool garbage but unique tone that is kind of fun. And I know just as
$325, dude. Wow, that's US, obviously.
That's still, I mean, it's less than $1,000.
What could we?
And for such a special, and they're not selling a shitload of those. Like usually some of the products like this are priced to account for like there's 100 people that are going to buy one in the first year, and that's how fast do we want to make our money back on this? But
that
it's
is
like
a beautiful friggin' mic, though.
It is cool, yeah, and it sounds really neat, especially like I don't know. I'm working on a blues ear track that would benefit from that.
I'm checking out some of the things you can record with it. I don't know if that's coming through or not.
Probably. Yeah, it is coming through. Fully.
Okay. Male voice.
I heard it start and it tripped me up for a second. I was like, "What was that?"
Yeah, I think that maybe that's one of my next mic purchases. That I don't mind dropping money on mics like that. But when it's like, hey, buy the new Blue microphone.
No.
Which, by the way, I've got a video coming out on Monday for the Blue Ember. Actually, I decided to go a little bit of a different direction with it. What happened to Blue? What happened to Blue microphones? Because like the way they started way back in the 90s with a $4,000 tube mic and ended up with the Blue Snowball and the Blue Yeti. Oh, there had to be some sort of trauma in there, right? That's
something.
Started out a multimillionaire and ended up homeless kind of deal.
There's got to be something.
Any pre-video highlights of your live gig short? I don't think we have a live gig at the moment, although we do have some live gig concepts coming up because Dylan's picking up some work. I was
going to say, did you bug Aiden's phone? Because I feel like
kidding, right?
Talking about
it. Bite me, Andrew. Terrible in Melbourne, Australia. Winter here early, and now it's 13 degrees Celsius and raining. Oh.
Yeah, I've heard that's apparently what the Sydney folk report, the same sort of winter
Yeah.
phenomenon.
Outsider Jess says Logitech bought them also. And you know what? Logitech wasn't the first person to buy Blue. Blue was bought a couple times by equity firms, and they all kind of piled on the 100 for one is better than a one for 100, because Blue was a boutique microphone company when they started with
Yep.
the
Oh yeah,
bot-
yeah.
the blue bottle.
Yep.
And
Baby
that was like,
bottle.
yeah, and then they moved, but that wasn't Blue that did that. I don't think the baby bottle came out when they were under an equity firm, I believe. And
Yeah,
it
this is private equity tends to murder audio companies.
well, they sold Blue for $117 million to Logitech in the end. No word on how much.
That's the goal, though. So
Yeah.
with these private equities, their whole thing is like, hey, let's bloat the value of the company really fast by making cheap stuff that sells well. And then we'll jack it up to like, whatever 3 or 4x or more that what we bought it for, and then we make a bunch of money. Sounds good.
Yeah. And you know what? It's one of those things where they saw this opening in the market, because the Blue Snowball was released by the original Blue company, but it was such a groundbreaking microphone when it was released, because it was the first good sounding USB microphone. And when I say good, remember the USB microphones we used to have, those like the crane neck USB mics that sounded like,
oh yeah,
they sounded like this.
Yeah. It was a significant upgrade from that, but compared to like an MKH 416, it's not.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But they broke the market on that, and obviously after they sold it off, the Blue Yeti came out, and it was just this like downhill kind of slide. And this microphone, the Ember, is literally a perfect representation of where the company went. It's such a trash microphone, released in 2019 for guess who? Streamers, and it's a condenser. I don't get it. It's one of the most confusing stories.
It's nice. The Snowball's a nice story because one of the cool things that comes out of companies doing stuff like that is they inspire other companies. Like once people see how much it sells, then other companies start to innovate, and they start to be like, okay, we need to make one now, and we need to find a way to make it better. And you start this snowball effect, right? It's actually perfect. You start the snowball effect into, now we've got so many good USB mics. Largely started. It's kind of like, in a lot of ways, what Rode did with the original Rodecaster. The idea of a purpose-built mixer interfacey piece of hardware that is specifically for podcasters. And really hitting that market with a feature set that appeals to them, user friendliness. And then what did that do? That started a snowball effect of getting all these other companies to take their stab at, like the Tascams and the Mackeys and all these different brands coming and making this podcaster specific hardware. And it's all gotten better over time. All these companies have helped each other inch their products up.
Yeah. Clip Away says the story of Blue is so sad. It could have been the Rode competitor. And actually it's interesting because one of the things that I'm really surprised, like when you talk about going to get streaming gear or gaming gear or kind of any of those like marketing terms for podcasting, whatever, you've got two options right now, main options, and that's Elgato and Rode for kind of like the entry level stuff. It just is right now. That's who owns the market. Logitech bought Blue and then did nothing with it. It's like, guys, you had this opportunity to be one of the top three. And I don't know anybody who's gone out and bought a brand new Logitech Blue microphone outside of myself for a review. Anyways, I nearly splurged on an AEA Kusa, but it's a bit overkill for my usage. Oh, that okay, go ahead.
KU5A.
The KU5A? I don't know AEA's lineup. They're way out of my price point.
Yep.
It looks like Kusa on my screen.
KU5A. But I like it. I've never heard anybody call it Kusa before.
If there's anybody that's going to fuck up a name, it's going to be me. On my screen, that's super small. Super cardioid, super versatile, super durable. Never before has a ribbon mic delivered as much clarity and breadth of sound in a package so fit for both studio and live settings is the Super Cardioid KU5A. It looks like
Yeah,
a,
the AEA stuff. I came across them originally because I was looking for a good preamp to use for some of my ribbon mics that don't have internal activators. And you need a good amount to drive a proper vanilla ribbon mic. You need some juice and no
Yeah.
phantom power. And they make really highly renowned ones. That in terms of coloring, and even people talk about it in like SM7B circles, like, hey, use these AEA preamps. They got like 85 dB a gain. They'll drive you.
I've looked at AEA, some of their high end ribbon microphones, like the $3,000 R88As. Like I'm just going through them now. The was it the R84? That's the one that's kind of styled like the old school ribbon mic of
yesteryear. Yeah,
that's like $1,200. I mean, I would love to own this stuff, but I'm like, well, what am I doing with ribbon mics that's going to justify that?
I love the 44 series. I'm looking at their stuff now too. The R44, or what the fuck would be the one?
This is the one, the KU4. That's the one I was looking at the other day, and I'm like, yeah, this shit's out of my league. $6,000. That's US, by the way.
And these, keep in mind that these aren't like these mics are extremely fragile. That's something for people to understand. Like the filament in there is a very, very tiny, like, I don't know how many microns thick piece of ribbon material, piece of carbon, but like it's they can be wrecked by loud sounds, they can be wrecked by dropping, they can be wrecked by phantom power, they can be wrecked in more ways than most microphones in this day and age are pretty durable, but ribbon mics are not on that list. I would never bring a ribbon mic to like a live sound gig. Holy shit.
Not only that, I don't even own a Royer.
I'm almost reluctant to bring I'm almost reluctant to bring fucking condenser mics to live sound gigs, let alone ribbon mics. 57 like all the way. 57's on everything.
But even like the NTR, it's in your possession because it's wasted in this studio. As of now, it's wasted in this studio. So it's like,
I have the NTR on a stick. I have it right here. We can see it. Yay.
As you bump it around, you're like, oh.
No, just the bottom, the feet of the stand.
I'm only kidding.
Chris, no, it's awesome.
Chris Turbeville, that's kind of a cool name. Says, every time I hear a VO artist using a Blue Yeti, an angel loses its wings. Yeah, God kills a kitten too. I think they wanted to be memorable for USB mics. Yeah, that's the problem is you want to be memorable for USB mics, and then you're releasing stuff like the Blue Ember. I mean, pick a lane. Well, it's true though, right? Like if you're like full in, like we're a USB microphone company, and then you're like, but we've got this condenser microphone, perfect, that has like, I think it's signal noise ratio of 74 dB and 19 dB weighted.
Yeah, you often have to think about that in product development, in the sense of like, okay, we have a great idea for a product, we have a person that it fixes problems for, right? That's the whole, that's where every good product should start. Is like there's a problem and there's nothing that really does it well. This does it well, right? That's the whole thing. But then you hit a point where like, okay, so now that we've conceptualized it, we know what it looks like, we've defined it really well. Now, where does it fit in the tapestry of everything else that we do? Like what is the story? What is the story to the customer? Because from a sales standpoint, like, I don't know, Dyson is trying to really push these headphones. And from what I've heard, they're not selling super well. And I tried them. I found them too bassy personally, but people love bass. So, I mean, I could see an audience.
Because Dyson's about moving air. Of course it's going to
be well, it's a real loose strand, obviously. I think Dyson would be better off. Well, I mean, they do make heaters. I was going to say heaters, yes. Blowing air, it's a motor, the vacuum motor, hair dryers. Like I can connect the dots. But like headphones, I connect no dots. Like, what do you guys know about acoustics? Your vacuums are loud as fuck. I mean, sorry, I'm just calling that out there.
Andrew wants to know if audio was a board game, what would it be? My answer is math. If audio was anything, it would be, well, it is math. I mean, but like if it was a board game, like music, maybe like audio itself, like at its core, is just like it's sound waves. What do you think there, Dylan? You got a board game in mind?
A board game. Nope, can't say that I do.
Liberty Dude says, "Can't wait to see your comment section on a Blue Ember pan video." I don't actually pan okay, it's not a great microphone. I bought it for $55, so I do keep that in mind when I'm talking about the microphone. But I mean, trying to be nice about a microphone that's obviously it was released in 2019, and it really, should have been released in 2005. And it's outclassed in almost every way by every other microphone out there right now. And it doesn't sound that great. So but it's not a horrible mic. I don't know. I'm trying to be nicer to microphones these days. Blue always felt like the brand for musicians. Yeah, until they brought out some of the stuff.
Yeah, I think for me, it kind of fell into like their more expensive stuff fell into like the esoteric, semi-successful home studio market. Like I've never been in a professional, like you pay money to go in these facilities, these commercial facilities to record music, and I've never seen a Blue microphone in any of the places.
I've seen the Blue Bottle. I've the Blue Bottle was actually.
I've seen that in the places of guys that know what they're doing, but only ever like really good home studios.
Yeah. No, I've the one Metalworks had one back in the day when I went there. Also, there was
it's good to have, because I mean, like as somebody starting out in the business, the Blue mic, even their good ones, are a little bit more attainable than like a good Neumann is. And so I think they're good.
It was still $5,000 US, dude. The Blue Bottle was $5,000 US.
The bottle, really?
Yeah, well, it was a tube microphone from 1996, and it was well renowned for piano. And that's where
I knew guys that I just didn't think that it was enough to throw an insane price tag like that on it. Like it didn't sound bad. I would never have paid $5,000 personally for that ever.
Grant Ave had two of them on a piano. I never used it, but I've seen it.
Like I don't know, I use like 414s, or like maybe I don't know, the C12s. Get a couple of those. Get a lot of the body in there, if you have to. And that C12 is like twice that amount of money.
I've never used a C12.
No, yeah. Well, good luck. And the ones now, it's kind of like the U87 AI. Like they're not the same that they were back in the day.
Well, I mean, the Grant Ave, who they pride themselves, they're based out of Hamilton. I forget the guy's name who started he's a famous Canadian musician. It's where I did a lot of recording way back in the day. They had some original C12s, U87s, never got to use them. Those weren't stuff they pulled out for some dumbass kid that wanted to come along and record. That was the stuff that they kept for actual true musicians. So, but yeah, like I saw their mic locker. It was pretty freaking impressive. I've heard Peter's as well, so I'm looking
like it ties into the upgrade conversation, right? Like if you're upgrading, there's lots of mics that are plenty fine, right? And that's, I think, a key word there is plenty fine. Like, you can get any mic really to sound decently good on a certain source. It just depends. Like, what are you planning on doing a lot of? And is there a mic that would be better fitted? So going back to the NT1 analogy, right? You start with an NT1. What do you upgrade to? Well, if you're doing more vocal stuff and dialogue stuff, maybe not vocal stuff, but dialogue stuff and like voiceover and that kind of thing, podcasting, MKH. Get an MKH. That's a good purposeful upgrade that will actually give you some difference. If you're starting in voiceover and you transition into maybe doing more general purpose kind of audio, maybe opt for like a TLM 103. Because a TLM 103 is I would generally say better on more things than a shotgun mic generally would be. And like, but you have to consider like, is it giving you anything that your current solution? Maybe you're, doing a lot of blues guitar. It's like, well, go buy a ribbon mic, go buy the I know the VR one wasn't great, but go buy us some kind of ribbon mic. I mean, again, I think for the price that it was offered at, the NTR is a fantastic option in terms of upgrading to a ribbon mic. But good luck finding one. They're not currently in production, and if you find one, let me know because I want it. I have one already, but I want to do a stereo pair with two of them, and I need a second one to do that.
Yeah, they're not when they roll in.
I have bothered every warehouse to try to find one of those.
Clip away says love ribbons, don't love ribbon mic price. They're fun to build yourself though. Yeah.
What was the price of the? Do you remember what the price was of the NTR? Like what the retail? In fact, there's probably still listings.
Canadian was like 1,000 or 1,100. So that would be like 700-800
for what it does and how it looks and how it sounds. Like I've been really getting acquainted with that over the last few days, and man, it's so good.
Yeah,
that is a very reasonable price for that microphone, in my humble opinion. I freaking love this thing.
Clip away. Oh, we got a Liberty Dude super chat. 1 sec. We'll get that in a second. Audio is more like Flappy Bird, many walls to fly against. You have to dodge to keep your job. Yeah. Thanks for giving us your time. Appreciate you, Liberty Dude. Appreciate the $20 too. Thanks, brother.
Despite my whatever my verbal mishap was, I still am curious what that was.
Liberty Dude says, need to get you guys to do a one mic bluegrass song with an Ear Trumpet Labs Myrtle, which is, I believe, one of the original. It's a large diaphragm condenser, but it's in the style of a crystal mic. You know, one of those crystal mics that was mounted on.
Yep.
$775. I might pick one of those up. Like I'll try that.
Maybe we could find a little integration in there somewhere.
I'll give them a call. See what they say. I'm definitely up for some of the concepts like that. Like working with the copper, what do they call it? The copper phone.
Yeah.
That would be an interesting one to do, like a style of song with that. It would be interesting to get a producer like Dylan to try to make it sound really full and vibrant on something like that. Just one single copper phone.
I wouldn't want to. Here's the thing, right? You don't pick a mic that sounds like not what you want, and then you expect the engineer after the fact to make it what you want. Like you want to start with a microphone that kind of gives you already most of what you want, and then you just basically want an engineer to like emphasize what's good about it. And so if I was mixing a ribbon mic, I wouldn't try to make it sound full. I would try to make it sound flatteringly warm. And that's what I found, like, especially like I chose a ribbon, this blues track I'm working on. Originally, I did it with the Vanguard V13 tube mic, which sounds good for lots of different things. You did a review on it. And
it's warm as fuck.
But I have a Taylor 814 guitar that was the main part of that, and it's got like a grand auditorium style body, which for those that aren't super in on the guitar sizes, it's just got a really exaggerated waist to it. So it doesn't have a lot of low end just naturally. And so choosing the V13, it adds a lot of color, but in terms of frequency response, it's a little bit darker, but the bass isn't really affected as much, the low end.
Yeah.
With a ribbon mic, your bass is massively emphasized. And so, but I still found that it needed to be honed a little bit. Some of what you'll find too with, I don't know, recording instruments in rooms is when you get down to the lower frequencies, the dimensions of the room start to come into play more. I find lately I'm doing a lot of like micro cleaning in the bottom of waveforms for stuff that's recorded in the middle of this room. And I'm sort of learning that the middle of this room is a little bit out of control in the low end. And so I don't know, ribbon mics, they really emphasize that well, but if it's a fucking mess, you're still going to have to like go in and contour a little bit.
Yeah. Clint Stewart says, off topic, but I would like to ask, do you 3D print your own audio accessories?
I would love to. I would love to if I had the space.
Well, Dylan and I were just talking like little things like I'm getting an iPad for my camera. So basically, because Sony cameras don't really have any separate monitors for them, so you can pull focus and stuff like that because they have a cell phone app. And I use the cell phone app. It's a pain in the ass because it's over Wi-Fi. USB works. You can connect it over USB, but I can't be arsed to have a USB cable just for my phone. So I'm getting an iPad. And I was asking Dylan about something that would hold the iPad. And I'm like, you know what would hold the bloody iPad? Something you 3D printed your own self. That would be awesome. So there's a ton of things. If I had a 3D printer, I'd probably go nuts with it.
It's funny. I just saw a video today where a guy, like his wife, dropped the lid to the rice cooker on the ground, and miraculously it landed on the handle, so the glass didn't break, but the handle, like plastic, snapped a bunch off, and so he like basically peeled and broke the rest of the plastic off of the little threaded metal insert that it comes with.
Yep.
And then just 3D printed a new one and like improved it. Like he was in CAD and added like little holes for like the water to drain out properly from under it when you wash it, and like a nice
cool.
grippy handle. And then it was cool. He like 3D printed half of it, and then there was a little hole that he had planned out for and he just dropped the little metal threaded insert in there, and then the machine just kept building around it. I was like, that is cool. There's so many things. Like even again, I think the big application for me is like just shit that gets broken. Like little plastic garbage. And like I've got a like a razor that's got beard guards, and they have this tiny little shitty plastic clasp on the back that if you drop it once, they just snap right off. And so there's a bunch of those that I would build and improve upon. Yeah, 3D printing, love it. Just haven't gotten around to it yet.
My problem is it's one of those things where I just don't have time to learn the nuances of it. And it's like I would love to take a few months out just to learn that, but where do you find the time to learn something completely new? I don't know.
That's it, right? And as we get older, that time period extends.
So
and as we get older, the amount of time we have to dedicate to that stuff goes down. So there's an inverse relationship there. As you get older, the amount of time it takes you to learn new things goes up, and the amount of time you have to learn new things goes down. So how do you manage that?
Yeah. So you just read this Liberty Dude. You called yourself an asshole. And he
yes, I did.
Fervently disagrees with the assessment. Depends on how drunk he is, Liberty Dude.
I thought I said like a slur or something. I was like, what? I don't remember saying anything.
That would have got past. Oh, geez, man. Yan, how's it going, man? Quietly sneaking in. Clint has entered the 3D world, the all-consuming hobby. And this is the thing, right? Like, for the hobbies that I have, the last time I took this guitar off the wall, it's been way too long. It's just one of those things where I stop myself from going, am I going to pick up another hobby, or am I just going to improve upon the ones that I already have? And usually it's me going, no, I shouldn't spend $5,000 on this. I should just go work on the hobbies I have. So
honestly, I've been getting back into it. And I think today, as I was just telling Aiden before the stream, long story short, we are watching the Rodecaster video right now. I'm going through the Rodecaster video. Finally, it has been firmly and properly integrated into this situation. And so far, so good. But I've been starting this what used to be a studio and has now become a mad scientist's lab. It needed a cleanup. It just stuff was, you know what it's like, Aiden. It's just shit. Stuff doesn't have a happy home, and then when stuff doesn't have a happy home, it just tends to just sit somewhere until it's in the way, and then it gets moved somewhere else, and then it gets moved somewhere else, and it's like every once in a while you just need a reset. And so I'm like in the middle of that right now, but it's starting to open up this facility again back into a working kind of order. And I've got two NT2As mounted behind me here. I've got an NTR beside me. There's some cool shit coming. I'm excited.
Yeah. Steve
also
Schnetzler.
just updated my iZotope bundle. So back on the iZotope train. Yay. There's a bunch of plugins that I have no idea what they do.
Fab Filter's angry, by the way.
Yeah. Well, that's my next one, honestly, because there's some new, not many, but there's a few new updates to a few of the one, like the compressor. There's a
C3. Yeah.
Yeah. The C3 is nice. There's a new version of ProQ. I've got ProQ 3. I think we're at ProQ 4 now.
I have ProQ 2, I think.
You bought after me, I think. So you probably have 3 or 4.
Okay. Well, yeah.
You have Pro L2 probably.
Yes, I have Pro L2.
The limiter is fantastic.
The limiter is used all the time.
Yep. Yeah, it's my main limiter now.
Love that.
It's my main limiter now. I'm curious to see. The only thing I've really used in the iZotope stuff so far is RX, and their like dialogue separator is pretty decent. I used it on like a really shitty kind of podcast thing that I had to edit, and I had to get out
Oh,
some
look.
like table hits and stuff, and it did okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Steve says you need to find a teenager to teach you how to 3D print, or even better, to do it for you. My life has turned into, the old expression of never be the smartest person in the room, surround yourself with people that know how to do the things that you don't have time to do. I have literally bought into that tenfold.
Oh man,
I am
dude.
so willing to pay people to do stuff for me.
I had a
So
huge
willing.
conversation with a guy this week. He's an electrical engineer, and his full-time job is laying out circuit boards. And we had this whole conversation about something that I wanted it to be a certain dimension, but because of how the board was laid out, it had to be deep and couldn't be. And so I had a whole conversation. It is wild. That is a whole skill set. Is not doing schematics. Schematics is different. Schematics is like kind of in a logical sense what components are where, like in the circuit, but not physically necessarily. Although some of them are physical, but like just a wildly intelligent kind of craft. And like, well, I could probably fit this many in a row over there, but I need 8 of them. And so I'm gonna have to break it out into 2 rows, and then we're gonna have traces that go around, but they got to go around this because there's a capacitor in the way. And it's crazy. And obviously, like, where do the connectors have to go? Because that has a huge bearing impact on. So like what was something I was doing? I was looking at a product that we're going to refresh, that we'll talk about at some point. And I wanted to move a button on it. And they're like, well, no, because if we move a button, like everything's board mounted. So if we move a button, we've got to go back to layout. And then we got to go through this whole iterative process all over again for one button. And I'm like, wow, that's shitty. Let's not do that then. And it wasn't even like a big, huge change, but it would have added like 6 months to the schedule. Well, maybe not that much, maybe like 3 months worth of time. Like, it's crazy. There's some stuff that you're like, oh, that's a really small thing. And then the people that actually implement it are like, well, actually,
Yeah.
there's 6 different guys building firmware. So
I love when people, like, a new product gets released, and like a good example, the Rodecaster Pro 2 gets released, and people are like, it'd be great if it had this. And it's like, you do realize what you've got is, like, if you take the Rodecaster Pro 2 in a vacuum and you just kind of put it out there and realize what that does and what it is compared to the world around it from 5 years ago, it is magic. In a lot of respects, it is literal magic.
Yeah.
Even compared to the original Rodecaster Pro, which I've got right in front of me, it's literal magic. And it's like, then people are like, well, but this, and it's like, well, you realize the development and the amount of money that's added on top of it. Everything's too expensive. Do it for $200. It's like, well, I'm getting a bit of a view from some of the stories you tell me at how much these little tiny things not just derail, but can actually kill a build.
Well, and there's stuff like, we did a lot of conversations back when I was in Dublin about product architecture. So like, we need a product that does this electronic job. And so we need an SOC to do this. We have, a system on module, system in package. Like, do we need FPGAs? Can we get away from FPGAs? Because FPGAs suck. They're super programmatical, but they suck. And like all this stuff, but like stuff that you don't even think about, like Dante. Let's look at Dante, right? So Audinate, the company that administers the Dante standard and protocol and solution, as they call it. I'm full level 3 Dante certified, so very familiar with Dante. But
certified.
They make their own like turnkey kind of like, if you have a product, just put a card slot in for this type of card, and we sell, you just stick it in your product, and boom, Dante. And then we have some ins and outs, and you have some power, and it's basically a turnkey Dante solution. Problem is, the price for the manufacturer is in the hundreds of dollars for that module, and so the alternative is a soft Dante solution, which is much harder. But obviously, it massively allows you to save costs because you just get your own. You basically design your own little Dante computer. Dante is a huge pain in the ass, by the way, and requires 3 cores, 3 dedicated cores, kind of minimum, for doing traffic control on the Dante protocol. At least for the channel counts that I'm kind of working with. And so you basically have to design a computer within your computer that they connect to the computer in the mixer, and then like, oh, how do you do firmware updates? Behringer fucked this up, man. They have Dante's, one of their solutions, which is baked into the wing. You've got to like kind of put the wing into like bootloader mode, basically delete the firmware, and then you'll be able to update the Dante locally on the Dante card. Like, what the actual fuck? Sorry, get Behringer music tribe rant there, but like,
it's funny you get into your developer rants, and everyone else is like,
yeah, everyone's like, what are you talking about? What the actual fuck are you talking about? But no, all this to say is yes, there is stuff that as a user of the products that I would have thought like, oh, this is a fairly easy thing to do, and then it has some weird impact that you didn't think about, like, oh, well, for the tooling. We have the tooling designed to put holes in these specific places for knobs. So if you want to move that knob over 2 millimeters, we're actually going to have to retool, which is going to take a lot of time and a lot of money. And yeah, it's a whole rabbit hole, dude.
Well, that's also why you don't see a lot of designs update, right? Like you'll see companies will stick with designs for a long time.
We're doing a complete refresh, like designing the cabinet of the product and up basically the chassis and up. From something that's already kind of a thing, and going back to the drawing board on something like a piece of equipment like that and trying to figure out how to design the look, the aesthetic, all of that is hugely time consuming.
I love how close to the edge you are right now, by the way.
Yeah. Getting a feel for that. But no, like it is a very time consuming product. And so when a company puts a lot of time and energy into developing something like a cabinet or a chassis or, a product enclosure of some kind for equipment, you want to generally try to make it really good so you can reuse that like a bunch of times. And whether that's like mixers, like if you look at the OG VLZ Pro, like the one that's behind me that's super blurry, that you can probably just see the edge of, or even no, probably not even.
Oh, I can see the faders.
Can you see the purple fire, the blurry purple fire?
Just a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, you look at that and then you look at the VLZ4. All of the knobs are in exactly the same places, basically. I haven't done a 1-to-1 comparison. Obviously, the components used are better, generally speaking. Fader caps are good. I haven't done a full audit. That's why I said generally speaking. I haven't used the thing, but looking at it, it's like if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and you end up saving a lot of time and energy doing that and money. And so, yeah, I don't know. When you do go back to the drawing board and decide, hey, it's time for a complete refresh of a thing, it's a very fun process, but it's also scheduling is a nightmare.
I can imagine. So we gotta skip out in a second here. It's almost 6. The Lost Shadow of Hanzo. I don't think I've seen you here. Cheers. I just bought the Sontronics Podcast Pro used for £28. I think it was a decent deal. I have been trying to work with Sontronics for about 3 years now. They've run into some issues with getting their product to me. And it's not like because they don't want me to review it or anything like that. It's just been, we've hit roadblock after roadblock, and it doesn't really exist in Canada. I think I might see if they're at NAB this year, because I'll hunt them down and try to get one of their mics. I've heard nothing but good things about them. So
I was gonna say there's a sound on sound review of it. That's when you know.
Sontronics is one of those brands that I kind of saw way back in the day, and maybe in the US I can probably pick one up and just buy it. Maybe we'll see. We'll hit up a music store when we're in Vegas here, Dylan.
Yeah. Hit up the old what is it? Yeah, Guitar Center.
Yeah, Cross Yo Podcast. How's it going, brother? And Sontronics Podcast Pro is a nice mic. Yeah, it's one of those things that I've got to kind of narrow down certain things to try to get them in, because it's really difficult being in Canada. Like I just got an email about having to import something that's coming out from a company that they're sending me some very large
yes.
boxes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
They're sending me some very large boxes, and I've got to import them, and I've got to fill out all this paperwork. It's such a pain in the ass doing this. So
I may or may not have had, well, I'll just say I had extensive involvement in the making of that product that you are being sent.
that's one of the things that you're going to be involved with the video. I haven't told you yet,
Oh, yeah.
but we're going to be
Yeah,
sitting
yeah.
down and
Well,
chatting
we
about.
talked about that. Like any time where that's
Yeah.
true, then yeah, it makes sense to have a little bit of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So but yeah, like the idea of just bringing stuff in to this studio just to review if I'm not paying for it. The amount, man, I would love to have a manager that just takes care of all of the business end of things, because it's such a pain in the ass and you forget about stuff, and then stuff just gets sent back because you forgot to fill out the paperwork for it.
Oh yeah,
And
I've been trying to traffic a package to somebody who is in that very situation where we send him free stuff ended up going back, and so we had to pay again to have the free stuff sent out again.
yeah,
Fun.
my wife just made an appearance, not on camera, just off to the side. The I will say this, the idea that they just sent it back, especially recently with the changes that the USPS and basically anything customs going back and forth between Canada and the US is now super complicated and frustrating. Like, I can't send a package to a buddy, and this has come up where I'm sending a package to somebody in the US. It's just not worth it anymore because it's all considered business now. Even if I'm like, hey buddy, you here have this. Nope, that's a business transaction. No, it's not. I'm sending something to a friend. Nope, no, you're not.
Yeah, even I find the same thing. Like even like we send out free stuff to people, and then when we do, an invoice is generated from like us. And it'll have like the cost, and sometimes the cost number is just a rough guesstimate. Like it'll be like
Yeah, yeah.
$1,000 or whatever. But there's always still a cost, even if no money is changing hands. They're like, well, this item, which is worth this much fair market value, is being transferred from this person to this person, so it needs to have, and it's annoying. And you're right, it has gotten way more annoying now too.
Yeah, and like I was trying to send something. Oh, I was trying to send a project I'm working on with a company out of the US. I was trying to send the guy that works for that an interface just so he could play with it, because he'd never used the interface, and he was just like, yeah, I'll play with it. And I went to UPS and I'm like, I want to ship this down. I forget. I think it's in. No, it's not in New York State. But anyways, and I'm like, can you ship this? And he's like, it's not worth it. Don't bother. I said, why not? He said, it's going to cost you about $200 to ship that. And it was just like a tiny little interface, like tiny.
Yeah.
You can fit it in the palm of your hand. So yeah, it's just, there's a lot of bullshit you've got to kind of jump through. However, we are going to make an end of this live stream. I made that as awkward as possible.
That was great.
We have coming up NAB. We've got a lot of NAB content that's being planned as we speak and working towards getting there. Dylan and I both flying out, I think May 18th. Yeah, April 18th.
April 18th, yeah.
So yeah, stay tuned for all of that. All of that stuff is kind of coming to a head over the next 3 weeks. Also, I bought the Magnus Pro Evo, I think it's called. I've got a secondary desk because I had to get rid of my old big guy. So I got a video out in that, and of course the Blue Ember. Other than that, though, if you got any ideas for videos, let me know. It has been, and this is the name of the live stream, which I guess I'll address once in the freaking live stream. It has been bleak. There has not been a lot being released. There's not been a lot of movement.
No, that's why even leading up to NAB, like I've been getting a ton of fucking emails on that account.
You're welcome, man.
Being registered on a press mailing list fucking sucks.
And everybody, my favorite is when they go, "Hey, Dark." I'm like,
oh
my name's not
you're
Dark.
like, yeah.
You can just Google it and find out that my name's Aiden Wolf. That's all you got to do is Google it.
So far, it's been all like fucking boring shit. Like, oh, hey, Audinate's going to be here, or like Open Drives is doing a presentation on like file storage. Like, I don't care. I haven't seen anything really well, a lot of the stuff I'm getting. It's funny. The companies I find are the loudest about NAB stuff in emails are the companies that I often care the least about whatever they do.
Oh, it's so brutal. I
Yeah.
just want to know, like, I would love to be able to go in knowing kind of what booths I'm going to be hitting up. I
Yeah.
think I've gotten over the past 2 years, I've gotten 2 emails that have been like, oh, I got to go to that booth. Cross Yo podcast says, hell yeah, USA, thumbs down. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
like
it's-
I just got this from NAB. Global Next Gen TV takes center stage at 2026 NAB with Brazil Minister of
Ooh.
Communications and FCC Commissioner. Like, I ain't gonna be arsed to give a fuck.
Who gives a shit?
Exactly. Well, there's obviously somebody does because they wouldn't book it if not. But I'm like, as far as like the very narrow slice of NAB that
Yeah.
we're interested in, there's just not a lot that I'm seeing about that stuff.
I haven't checked to see who the big, because with the press pass, you basically you can go anywhere.
Yep.
And I haven't checked to see who the speakers were, like if they had any big names.
No, we did that last year. That felt like it's the biggest fucking waste of time.
Well, no, they have like Casey Neistat did one year. Like they have big speakers. that
Yeah,
come
I think
through.
we just got unlucky and went to all of the like, and it wasn't even like the only one of them was exceptionally like terrible and misleading. And you remember the one I'm talking about.
The podcast one, yes.
Yeah,
I'll
though,
call it out.
ironically, the podcast one, and they're flat out like, somebody from the freaking manufacturer of a product is in the room, and you say something that's just flat out misinformation.
Yeah,
about a product.
It was pretty brutal. David
Like, I forget what
Malinowski-
did he say about the pod mic? He said the pod mic was.
I can't remember. It was
It was something. I was biting my tongue so much. I want to be like, you are full of shit.
David Malinowski. Hey, love your videos. Cheers, brother. Thanks.
That's
man.
an awesome name.
I appreciate- yeah, that
man.
is definitely rolls off the tongue.
Malinowski. Love that.
You came in at the wrong time because we're just about to end, but I appreciate the kind words. Cheers, man. And
Yeah.
you guys have yourself a great week, and we'll see you maybe next Friday if Dylan's still in town.
I should
see.
be. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, we'll see.
should be. We'll see. All right, guys, have a great weekend.
Catch you next time.